I'm Victoria Arlen. Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr said Kevin Durant will probably be activated for tomorrow's home game against the Milwaukee Bucks. But Durant provided a more definitive statement saying, quote, "You can tell them I'm playing Thursday." Durant sat out his 6th straight game Tuesday because of a rib injury. LaMarcus Aldridge is the latest star player to go down with an injury. Aldridge left the game against the Wizards last night with a bruised left knee. He's expected to have an MRI today. The power forward leads the team in points and rebounds. Kevin Love got an elbow to the face in the Cavs' loss to the Heat last night, forcing him to leave the game. The team said he showed concussion-like symptoms. It will be determined sometime today if he'll have to enter the concussion protocol. Let's send it back to First Take.
Victoria, thank you. Believe it or not, we are now less than a month from the NFL draft. Mel Kiper's Mock Draft 3.0 hot off the presses, and you will love it if you are a quarterback. 4 of the first 5 picks are QBs, with Josh Allen going number 1 to Cleveland, Sam Darnold going number 2 to the Giants, Josh Rosen to Gang Green at 3, Baker Mayfield 5 to Denver. The Browns also pick up Saquon Barkley at 4. Joining us now to break it all down is the man himself, draft guru Mel Kiper. Good morning, Mel.
Good morning, Mal.
Always good to see you. We need to start, though, with that latest move there. So since your last mock draft, the big news, of course, the Jets moving up to number 3, and you have them taking the somewhat controversial Josh Rosen in your mock draft. How do you see him fitting in New York City?
Well, the great thing with all these quarterbacks is, they're going to have a chance to go back to the way it was in the 70s, 80s, where when you came in the NFL, you weren't expected to be the guy right away. Josh Rosen will not have the opportunity to be forced in there to say, okay, compete. Yeah, you'll compete, but you're going to lose out. Josh McCown's there, obviously, and Teddy Bridgewater. Josh Allen goes to Cleveland. You have Tyrod Taylor. Baker Mayfield goes to Denver. You have Case Keenum. Sam Darnold goes to the Giants. You have Eli Manning. And if Lamar Jackson goes to Arizona, you have Sam Bradford. So everything's in place for these young quarterbacks. Not that to be ready immediately. They can be ready maybe year 2, year 3. Maybe half into their rookie year they may be forced there. Who knows? But the pressure won't be on these young quarterbacks to be the guy right away.
Mel, always an honor to have you on the show, buddy. I got to ask you this question, and I know it's just a mock draft. I get it, and anything can happen. Please know I understand that. But I am curious, even though you've been about Josh Allen, and you've been consistent with that for the most part, you're the only person that I've heard that has had him above Sam Darnold. Why is that?
Well, I started out the process. It's all a guessing game early, and you try to figure out from a common sense standpoint who a team may take, Stephen A. And that's why I went with Cleveland with the big, strong-arm quarterback in Josh Allen, kind of like a Wentz, a Roethlisberger. 2 quarterbacks the Cleveland Browns could have taken, Roethlisberger and Wentz, and passed on them. So I think you look at John Dorsey, went for Patrick Mahomes last year, a gunslinger. He was in Green Bay with Brett Favre, who's drawn comparisons to Josh Allen. All those factors are the reason why I projected Allen to Cleveland. And I will say this, everybody back in the day had Allen going 15, or some even had him going later than that. Some didn't have him in the first round. They've come way up, close to that number 1 spot with Josh Allen. So I feel like I've already won that battle. Josh Allen's not dropping to the mid-first round or out of the first round. He's either going 1 or 2 right now.
But, Mel, that's curious to me, your reasoning there, because while I agree, Wentz and Roethlisberger, when you say Allen, I think that, not huge programs, but big, strong guys whose stock kept improving as the draft approached. But generally, the number 1 overall pick is a guy who fits some of that description, but also is a little more of a blue blood in terms of the program he went to, the way the analytics can wrap around the guy. The analytics community can say, yes, there's a consensus. That guy's going to be good. Eli Manning in the Roethlisberger draft, Goff in the Wentz draft. Wouldn't that be Sam Darnold? Maybe not even with his play this year, but the play the previous season. Wouldn't that be Darnold?
It would if you go by that, Max, no doubt about it. But I don't think John Dorsey and the Browns have to go by that formula. And I think you think about analytics. Analytics is spun to say, okay, this is the reason why a guy didn't make it, or this is why he did. In Matthew Stafford's case, nobody's talking about the 57-1 completion percentage. They're saying, well, he got better that junior year, okay? But if he would have not been a good quarterback, they said, well, he was at 57-1. You should have known that. He would have brought up that, okay? So everybody kind of spins things to create a narrative that suits them. And I think in Josh Allen's case, you can look at Brett Favre. Brett Favre was a 50-4 coming out of Southern Mississippi. Last time I checked, he was a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he completed over 60% of his passes.
Are you saying they've learned from that?
In the league.
Mel, are you saying that they've learned from the experiences of Roethlisberger and Wentz, who may be the best quarterbacks in those drafts, and that will be applied to Allen? Because actually the analytics like Baker Mayfield the best. So are you saying that the Roethlisberger and Wentz experiences apply to Allen, and so then he rises?
I think Stafford applies more so, Max, because of the completion percentage. Everybody's holding analytics, 56.2. You can't take a guy like that in the first round, let alone number one, okay? I go to 32 attempts in a game, okay, one time over the last 2 years. You look at Mayfield, look at Rosen, look at Darnold, how many times they threw the ball over 32 times in a game. You go back to the 80s and even in the 90s when you were throwing it 25 to 30, those completion percentages of those quarterbacks in the offense that Allen ran, where you didn't have many layups, was not 60 to 65%. It was 50 to 55%. So this notion that, Allen, I think he's an outlier. I really think he's an outlier. I think all that stuff makes sense if you're going to go true to 56-2. But if you're going to look at it a little deeper than that, I could take somebody that doesn't know football from a hockey puck and say 56-2, don't take him. But if you go deeper than that, Josh Allen, the improvement he's shown, the work ethic, the competitiveness, Craig Bowl raised that. Craig Bowl had Carson Wentz. I think there are a lot of reasons why Josh Allen should be number one or number two. And obviously, if you're going to stick to the 56-2, you're not going to take him number one.
All right, Mel, let's go to Josh Rosen because we saw his former head coach at UCLA say he would take Darnold over Rosen. What does that say to you about Rosen?
Well, it says a lot in this regard, Max. If you go back to the crosstown rivalry game, I watched that game. I did SportsCenter after that game live. Who outdueled the other? Rosen outdueled Darnold. Rosen looked like the better quarterback in that game against USC on the same field with Sam Darnold. So when you're hearing all this stuff, yeah, it's concerning because they went head-to-head and Rosen looked better. So there you go. Rosen at 3. Hey, he's going to have a great opportunity with the Jets. They're going to have a quarterback in place, a veteran, and we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I think the injury issue, talking about this that goes beyond anything about the injury issue with Rosen bothers me. Shoulder 2 years ago, concussions this year, concussion protocol 32 days, wasn't able to play in the bowl game. I think that's the factor for Rosen that bothers me and why he doesn't go 1 or 2 overall.
Mel, if you know me, you know where I'm going right now. Can we talk about the New York Football Giants? Because you had them taking Saquon Barkley in your last draft. Now you have them taking Sam Darnold. Who should they be taking?
Well, I think you look at it in two different ways. If you're trying to help Eli Manning win right away, and if Odell Beckham Jr. is with the Giants, remains with the Giants, and you made all these moves as Dave Gettleman did in free agency with Nate Solder and all those other additions, you take Saquon Barkley. Or you trade out of there and you accumulate other picks. But if you feel like, okay, we're picking second, everybody thought back in August they were going to be picking 22nd, okay? So, and they're hoping to be in the 20s this year coming up. Well, then you take maybe the heir apparent because they're not going to be picking that high. And if you want to get up there, look how costly it is to move up into the top 5. Just take a look at what the Jets gave up to get to 3. They gave up 2 twos this year and a 2 next year. So if you're the Giants saying, boy, if we want a quarter, and next year, who says Drew Lock from Missouri is going to be great? We don't know, okay? We'll see what next year holds. But I think if you're the Giants, we can get a guy like Darnold or Allen without giving up anything. Eli Manning's got, 1, 2, 3 maybe great years left, maybe not any, who knows? So I think that's the rationale for taking the quarterback at 2 over a running back who you can get in the 3rd, 4th round, as we saw with Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round last year and Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round last year.
Mel, Chris Canty was on the show talking about the Giants like a single quarterback. He thinks they're different. I'm starting to think, you know much more about this than I do, obviously, but I'm starting to think that everyone's identified Sam Darnold as the guy and that it may be a race for Sam Darnold. I could be wrong, but it seems that way to me. If Darnold's not there for the Giants, considering how much the Jets moved up to get 3, if he's not there, why not trade back a little bit if a guy like Baker Mayfield could still be there, who the analytics like, who seems to be the best, just not the tallest? Why not do that and pick up something else if you're the Giants?
Well, anything like that makes sense, Max, if you feel you can get that guy. But this notion that this guy is liked over that, nobody knows. Everybody's playing poker now. So whatever you're hearing, disregard it. Who's going to tell anybody who they like and who they don't like in terms of these quarterbacks? There's so much volatility and there's some polarizing quarterbacks at the top of that board. And some love, some don't like. So I think right now what you're hearing doesn't mean much. I think you got to say, I would disregard. I've heard a lot too. But I don't worry about that. You try to figure out what teams may do based on reality, not what you're hearing, because I think a lot of it is false and negative and just inaccurate information.
Misdirection.
So, like I said, who would ever let you know where you're leaning? If somebody let it out, they'd be gone. They're not working for my organization. It's critical you maintain that information within in the confines of that war room.
Mel, I need to get your opinion on this. We've heard GM for the Giants, Dave Gettleman, say that the number 2 pick definitely needs to be somebody who one day is going to be wearing a gold jacket. That's what he said about the number 2 overall pick and how basically it needs to be a Hall of Famer. Right. Does that mean to you he's definitely taking a quarterback or that he's taking somebody like Barkley?
Well, you know, Ernie, of course, he made the move to get Eli Manning, okay? You think about Eli Manning. Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? That's for you guys to debate. It's a lot of people that think one way or the other there. 2 Super Bowl rings, taking out Brady twice. We'll see about Eli Manning. But, yeah, I think you hope to. Is there any guarantee the second pick overall is going to be a Hall of Famer? No. History tells us that. I think you look at the second pick, though, for the Giants. If it's Barkley or a quarterback like Darnold or Allen, you're thinking along those lines. You're thinking Barkley can be like Zeke Elliott and Todd Gurley, an MVP caliber back. If you're thinking about Darnold or Allen, you're thinking about Roethlisberger, Rivers, and Manning, the 3 quarterbacks that went in the top 10 in 2004. Or you're thinking Goff, Wentz, Winston, Mariota. You're thinking all those quarterbacks that went 1-2 or in that top 5 can be that good. Really, any first-round quarterback, guys, you're thinking Hall of Fame. You're thinking second round. Look at Garoppolo right now. He's a second-round quarterback. People love him. Look where Brady went. Look where Breeze went. Yeah, look what happened to all these quarterbacks that are the greatest of all time. They didn't necessarily go in the first round, yet struck gold. So who's going to be that guy this year? Maybe it's Kyle Lauletta from Richmond. Who knows? But the bottom line is, yeah, you're picking second. You would certainly hope that quarterback or that running back, whoever you take 2 overall, is going to be wearing that Hall of Fame gold jacket.
Yeah, you're expecting the gold. Mel, we appreciate the knowledge, as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
James Harden would likely be a runaway winner of the MVP this season, but LeBron James says Harden should not win the award. Wait till you hear the Kings pick.
Stephanie, she's earned everything she's got coming to her, and I don't think she has any idea what she's really signed up for. She slapped me across the face. What do you think I'm going to do?
Hey now, calling her out. Don't miss how Stephanie McMahon will respond to Ronda Rousey talking trash when she joins Triple H with us at the debate desk. Keep it here. It's First Take.